Hey everybody! Welcome to the Good Evening Kitties podcast, the Tales from the Crypt review. My name is Melissa, your ghostess with the mostest, and today's episode is Season 3, Episode 13, Spoiled. I have with me today return guest, Heather. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Melissa.
Thanks for being on here again.
Of course.
Did you enjoy this episode as much as I did?
Oh, goodness, yes, I did.
I had forgotten I knew how it ended, because I've seen all these episodes multiple times, but I forgot how soap opera-y and just... They must have had a really fun time doing this episode.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think. Like, it seemed like it was just real goofy and crazy, and so yeah, we'll get into that. So yeah, let's talk about Season 3, Episode 13, Spoiled. As always, John Kassir does the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and Danny Elfman does the theme song. This episode aired August 21st, 1991. It is directed by Andy Wolk, who also directed the TV movie A Town Without Christmas. The screenplay was by Connie Johnson and Doug Ronning. It stars Faye Grant from movies like My Best Friend's Girl, Alan Rackins, I don't know, from TV's Dharma and Greg, he played the dad. Mm-hmm. Anita Morris from movies like Ruthless People, Tristan Rogers from TV's General Hospital, which probably was a real easy role for him to play. It was a real short one, but yeah. I mean, considering this is like real super soap opera-y. Annabelle Gurwitch from movies like Masterminds, which I very much enjoyed her. She was the soap opera star. Mm-hmm. She was nailing it. And Anthony LaPaglia from TV's Without a Trace. I'm going to go ahead here and read the description on the back of the box. She's married to a doctor. He's married to his job, and the cable repairman has caught her eye. Oh, it's caught more than that. So let's go ahead and get into the episode. For some reason, this one opens up, I thought was a little weird, with the Crypt Keeper golfing.
Yeah! So when you told me about this episode, I've never seen this episode, so when you told me about it, I was like, oh, spoiled. It has to do something with me. And it opened up with golf, and I was like, I don't know where this is going. I was really confused.
Because usually the openings have something to do with the episode, even vaguely.
Yeah.
And this one...
I guess country club, doctor, like that sort of thing, maybe?
Maybe.
I mean, that's the kind of pastime you assume people who make a lot of money go into. You know,
but I mean,
doctors...
do they necessarily make a lot of money? The house in this, I mean, it's just a normal house, or at least it seemed like to me. You only see like 2 rooms, but that lab is pretty sweet.
Okay, I have many issues with the lab, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That lab was something else. So yeah, so it opens up with the Crypt Keeper. He's playing golf for some reason. I mean, maybe it has something to do with a hole-in-one. Her getting pounded. I don't know. But yeah, so it starts out, I really enjoy the chemistry set thing back here behind him though.
Yeah.
So much like dry ice and all that stuff, it's really fun. Well, I mean, I guess if we take a look at it here, he's sitting there and he's got his cleats propped up and he's got his little golf outfit, little golf hat, and he's got like there's a skeleton there, and there's a golf ball in his head, and later there is some stuff with heads, so I mean maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know, I feel like they're kind of reaching. Okay, so it starts out and there's this scene here where Annabelle Gurwitch, who is it's just awesome. I love that hair. She's got this red fiery hair and she is just sassy.
White suit to make her skin look pink.
Yeah. It's in this office setting, and I love this part though because she as she walks through, like, her office on one side of the office, mm-hmm. and then it's her husband, which I appreciate the fact that she still wants to bone her husband. Great.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming this company is something they own together. But as she's walking through everyone who's working there, she's like, hold his calls, and walks in, like, she's like, hold his calls, we gonna fuck. Like, she doesn't say that, but
yeah,
everyone's gotta know what they're gonna do.
Oh, God, yeah.
Hold his calls.
And so, if all parties agree, only decisive action on your part will effectuate a successful merger of our 2 companies. Well, what are you doing?
I am trying to effectuate a successful merger with my husband.
Fuchsia, I don't have time for this. I've been trying to make this deal work for the last 6 weeks.
And totally ignoring me. You care more about this agency than you do your own wife.
But she, like, leaves the door open and she didn't close the blinds or anything, and she's already, like, trying to rub all up on her husband while he's on the phone.
Let me just grope your underboob that, you know, you don't have.
Yeah, and like I said, everyone can see it. Like, people are just like, okay, walking around. And her name is Fuchsia Monroe is her name there. And she's basically, like, they run this agency for something. And she's wanting to have, I guess, like a...
I love the bounce of her hair. I wish I could give...
So yeah, so he turns her down, like she's wanting to have a little afternoon delight here. Literally, like I said, everyone can see through, they know what's happening. He says no, because he's like, we're trying to, you know, get this merger on the company, and like, you know, it's time to work. You guys are married, you can do it later, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why now?
Which, I get that it's a soap opera, but instantly she's like, okay, you won't bone me, closes door, walks out, sees first piece of man meat,
Yeah.
cavemans him into her office.
Well, yeah, and like, see, at this point, like, it starts out you don't know it's a soap opera yet.
Oh, no, and that's why I was
Yeah.
really confused. I was like, dang, Crypt Keeper, you're getting into the
You're
cheese
like, this
real
is gonna
easy.
yeah, because it's really cheesy, and you can
Yeah.
tell it's like, you're like, dang, I don't know where this is gonna go. But she's sizing up this other guy who's working.
Whose name is Quebec.
Yes, Quebec, and I believe her husband in the show's name is Evian. So it was like
The
the
water.
water. So it's like Evian, Fuchsia, and Quebec. And so she saunters into her own office, which looks like the inside of a vagina. And she sits down at her desk, and she's basically saying she wants to talk to Quebec,
Have a
review, a one-on-one. And she does close the blinds for this, so I'll give her that.
Not the ones on the door. I swear this woman has, like, something about people seeing her. Which, I mean, I guess that's her fetish.
And this part, though, where, like, she just, like, sits there, and she immediately is, like, rubbing her legs there, and she starts opening her legs towards him, putting her heels on him, and just, like, coming on to him real hard, saying that, like, they're, like, meant to be kind of thing.
I mean, you gotta give her props,
She's
right?
basically, like, slowly pushing...
Let me show you my legs and then end up in your lap. Like,
She's basically-
melt off my desk into your lap.
Like, just pushing her private area, her vagine, into his face, almost.
Well, yeah, because her ass has to be, like, on him.
And he's just sitting there like, alright. I guess he's like, well, you know, I don't want to get fired, so I'll do this, which is technically, I mean, this is assault. And,
Oh, God, yeah.
And she's just like, well, this is what I want, so I always get what I want.
But I love the power dynamic. Like, that suit,
Yeah.
those heels, man.
She's killing it.
Yeah.
And that's when it pulls back as they kiss. In the office, it pulls back, and that's how you can tell it's a soap opera.
So, when I watched this on YouTube on, like, my big screen, and I was, like, across the room, so it looked like it soft faded, like a soap opera, so, like, Ninth Doctor Who soft faded, and I was like, man, they're really playing up this soap opera, only for you to then get the noises to realize, oh, you're actually watching a TV, and it is a soap opera. So, I mean, I'm not watching it as close as we are now, so when I saw it, I was like, man, they're really taking this up a notch. And then you see it is a TV, that there's lesbians in the living room.
They're not lesbians.
And then it pans to them and it's like, oh, it's just two white girls doing laundry and are just really raunchy.
Yeah, but they're like sitting there holding their laundry going, yes, 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 like they're like, who did you get
But
that?
it's two girls!
Yeah, they're like, you get that, Fuchsia.
Two grown women who are
Yeah,
making sex noises with their laundry next to each other on a floral couch.
Yeah, it's a horrible couch. And I've never seen like two grown women doing this, and they're like basically like this is their porn. They're getting turned on.
I walked in on a grown woman doing this by herself in a room.
Watching a soap opera.
Watching a soap opera.
Huh.
Never like two grown women doing laundry next to each other making horny noises.
And you got Janet, who's the main character here, and then I think her friend's name is Louise. And I guess this is something they do on the regular. They're really into this soap opera.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so
they
they never miss it. And so I saw like they get a pizza, they're folding their laundry, she's like the next door neighbor. They make an afternoon out of it. But
it's funny because the way that they're obsessed with this soap opera is like people nowadays obsessed with Keeping Up with the Kardashians, except they're not making sex noises at it.
Yeah, they're really just
They're just like, oh my god, we gotta see what these girls are gonna do next. We gotta emulate them.
like they're just so like cranked up. And even Louise is like, oh shit, like she had to like snap herself out of it. And at this moment, I was watching it with Mike, and I was like, maybe they should just be together if they're this like,
yeah,
if they're this into like getting it. Because basically this episode is Janet is married, you know, like it said in the description, she's married to a doctor who's very busy, and she just real thirsty AF, as the kids say, and she's really DTF, as the kids say. I'm so hip. And and like everything just gets her going, and apparently it's just been a while for her and her husband. And again, I do appreciate the fact that she wants it with her husband, just like in the soap opera.
And it's not even as much as she wants to be with her husband. It's not just, I want to bang my husband. No, this woman throughout the episode goes to great lengths. Like, she sees the episode where Fuchsia wears what she wore on her wedding night, so she does the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, she makes him dinner. Like, she is actively trying to entice her husband.
Yeah.
It's not even, oh, I just want to bang. Like, this girl,
she wants passion. She wants, like, a danger, like a passion where he just can't keep his hands off of her.
Yeah, and he's just, no, I gotta play with Mr. Bun Bun.
Yeah,
which is not a euphemism, guys.
In comes her husband, who is a doctor, and she's very happy to see him, and she's got these really bad baggy shorts where, like, if she jumped off the roof of her house, she would float. Like, that's how baggy they were.
Yeah.
And her husband comes in, and he's been busy, and she's like, oh, how was the surgery, honey? Was it successful? And he's like, yes, but the patient died. I was like, I guess I'd call it successful.
See, I was talking, because Billy was like, how does that happen? And I was like, well, maybe it was a success, and then like got him out of the room, and there was complications later.
Like, they were able to successfully do what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
But then it just didn't work out, which he's working on some sort of...
I don't know how to say the word. I guess he's an anesthetician, maybe?
Yeah. Something with being able to put someone under without compromising how long you can without them dying, kind of thing.
He wants to create an anesthetic that can be administered to the patient, and they can work on the patient as long as they need to.
So you don't have to do like a 14-hour surgery where you're half out of it, and like if you needed to put them
if you
aside,
had to like put them aside, put them on hold, and go take a nap and come back, you
can
could
do that without them having a problem.
Or if something's so extensive that you don't have to wait for one thing to heal, for you to do another thing, like this way they can just do it all at once.
It's interesting. I mean,
it is interesting. I don't think it has as much to do with the brain as what they put emphasis on.
Yeah, I feel like it depends on how long you're wanting to keep them, but I feel like it would maybe do more with the body and like their breathing and their heart rate. Because you can kind of do that when they put you in a like a medically induced coma. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of a similar thing.
I don't know, but it like the idea is really, really interesting, and I really wanted to know, because any kind of information that we get on him is, oh, he's a surgeon, but he's concerned about anesthesia. Yeah. And his goal is to do this, but there's nothing giving on why he wants to do this. Yeah. Until the end.
Well.
And that's why I was like, what? Like, did someone
you're like,
hurt
why does
you?
this have
Did someone die? Like, did someone on her side die? Like, why are you obsessed?
Yeah, I guess it's just something...
with creating... Because, I mean,
maybe as, like, a postdoc or something in school, or, like, whatever he was doing, like, that was part of his thesis, and so he's just continuing it.
Because, I mean, and we're not even talking, like, 14, 18, 30-hour things. Like, that bunny... was down for like a week.
Days, yeah. Like, he's wanted to put you aside for a while.
Yeah, like he's like, we're gonna put you on a shelf and work on a couple of people and then take you back down.
Which I can't imagine feels that great coming out of. Even, because usually, even when you come out of surgery, you're kind of out of it. But, like, if you have a tube down your throat, it's still a little sore. I can't imagine after, like, 5 days. I mean, I guess when people come out of a coma, probably pretty rough.
Oh, yeah.
But, so her husband comes home. Louise is getting ready to leave. She's taking the laundry, taking their pizza box or whatever. But he's got this kind of sweet setup that we get to see in a little bit here of a lab. And there's a light on the outside of the door. And when it's red, that's when he's busy. And so like, not to go down there. Which, honestly, if your husband won't let you in the basement, you need to go in the basement.
Well, okay, but, again, we'll get to... But, I mean, you gotta understand the kind of work he's doing.
I do.
And the setup that he has. Like, honestly,
it should be more sterile.
Not any person can just walk into a room and be like, this is my laboratory. And that's exactly what that guy did. Because if you let this roll, when you get down there, it's not even a finished basement. Like, there's drywall. There is open drywall and everything. And he's just got, like, tubs of plasma everywhere. Yeah. And it's like... Dude,
it's kind
you're
of a sweet
doctor. You know about bloodborne disease.
It's a sweet setup, but yeah, it's not most fail-safe that he has set
and
up.
he doesn't have any, like, plastic up or... Like, it's all open.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy for anything.
But I'm just saying, if you in most movies, if your husband, like, have you ever seen Slither with, like, the worms? There's, like, these worms. It's gross, but it's a great body horror movie. But for a while, he's, like, locking the basement and telling her, like, don't go down there. And she's like, all right. And she just don't do it. I'm like, no, if you put a lock on it, I'm going down there.
Yeah.
And he was putting, like, dead animal bodies down there to eat, like, because he was turning into this creature.
Oh.
So it's like...
Turn into a Wendigo.
Yeah. Well, more like this alien... It's really good. You should check it out. But, yeah, so it's like, if anything like that, you know, go take a look. Which, I mean, she's been down there. She knows what's down there. But it's just kind of weird to me that if the light's on, like, don't go down there.
Well, I mean,
but
again...
I get it.
Like, she listens.
Yeah, I know. I do get it, though, because it's like...
Could you imagine, like, that's to deter her. Could you imagine how often she was down there before the light?
Yeah. He was like, you're making me put up a light.
Because, I mean, the guy put up a light, and even now, she doesn't listen to that light at all.
And, like, her friend's like, okay, bye, I'm gonna go. And she, like, gets ready to leave. She's like, good luck with your husband. Which, I don't know if she's married or not. This Janet chick is just so, she just wants to D. And she's, like, immediately daydreaming that her husband changes his mind and comes running back upstairs, and they kind of act it out.
Is suddenly a soap opera actor who, you know, just wants to bang her passionately.
Yeah. All these innuendos are so great. And she's, like, wanting to explore her body like Christopher Columbus, and she's like, oh, Christopher Columbus, welcome to the new world.
Oh my god.
And just they're so bad. And then they're passionately kissing, and, you know, this is all her daydreaming. Because her friend comes barging back in like, hey, Janet, hey, sorry, I end up grabbing your husband's boxer shorts. So these aren't mine.
Which she then, like, lovingly caresses back to staring at nothing.
Okay, yeah, so Louise is married. So she said this is definitely not her husband's. So Janet's husband's name is Leon, the doctor. Yeah. But yeah, she's, like, rubbing, I mean, at least they're clean.
Yeah.
But she's, like, rubbing them on her face. And... yeah, his lab is basically just a fixed up basement.
It's like a wood shop that a guy walked into, and he was like, this is my new, like...
Yeah, it's true. It's an unfinished basement.
Yeah, he's like, this is my new laboratory, and I'm not gonna touch a thing. I'm just gonna put medical equipment up. There's gonna be vials of open blood everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, at least he's got a lab coat on. That's better than some of the other episodes I've done.
I mean, I'm glad that he's safe.
I love this part, though, because she's just so gone in this soap opera, which is also kind of a thing that they touch on a lot in this episode, because in this time in the 90s, a lot of women who stayed at home or whatever watched all those stuff. Like, my mom watched some of that stuff. Like, you know, you got General Hospital, you got As the World Turns, One Life to Live, and people get really into them.
Oh, yeah, no. There was one summer... me and my best friend couldn't see each other, but we called each other every day, and I was out doing stuff.
Yeah.
My friend stayed inside and watched soap operas all summer long, and when school started, she didn't know what to do with herself. She would call me every day, and she would describe, like, the drama that happens in that. I'm just like, that's more drama than what we have to deal with in the 6th grade.
It's a lot.
What are you doing to yourself? And then, like, she got back into school, her mom taped them for a while, but stopped, and she was just like, I don't know how to handle myself. Like, it was like withdrawal for her.
Yeah.
But, oh my god.
It's just a little too much drama for me. I get why people can get into it, but, like, General Hospital, I think, has been going on for over 30 years, and people are still... I mean, you watch people grow, the characters grow in there and have families, and then someone's always in a coma, and then someone's, like, a long-lost sister. There's always something going on.
Cousin,
or a murder. There's a murder going on. So, yeah, it's a lot. So, I mean, she's very dramatic. Again, this had to be a fun role to play.
Oh, God, yeah.
And she's coming down the stairs in her unsexy shorts and her white shirt that's tucked in with a belt. And she's, like, rubbing all over herself and coming down here. And this part did bug me as a science person myself. Yeah, this really is an unfinished basement.
I told you! Like,
I mean, he's got part of it done.
This part is very much like, yeah, but you have to go through the carpenter shop to get to the sterile lab.
I mean, I guess it's not bad for if you're trying to do work on the side, but you're still going to have to prove it in a full lab.
Even if he had, like I mentioned, the multi-layer, like, plastic wrap where you have to, like, weave to get it. No! It is very much unfinished basement, and within, like, 5 feet turns into laboratory, and it's like, you can't do that. Because look at all the beakers and stuff. Like, they're all open.
And it's also, what I don't like, too, is as a lab, it's kind of dimly lit, which is not good.
Well, I know that that's not only part of the aesthetic from Tales from the Crypt, but it's also the soap opera aesthetic. You know, like, this lighting is Steve Martin's, like, Girlfriend in a Jar movie. Like, Brain in a Jar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's this lighting. Like, that's what's going on.
I love this part, though, and I hate this part.
What are you doing? I told you not to come in here when the red light is on.
Trying to effectuate a successful merger with my husband.
Well, I'm trying to make medical history. Which is more important? Janet, let me pour this in here right now.
He's trying to work. He's trying to pour something on something else in his lab coat, and she's rubbing all up on him and, like, pushing him around, and he's really trying to focus. And she's just like, no, put that down, stop it, oh my God.
You know, if he just took, like...
20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes out of his time.
I had that same thought.
To, like,
take her upstairs, do some passionate shit, whatever she want to do, and then be like, okay, we can do another round later, but give me, like, 4 hours to go down there and do all my stuff.
I don't like how he writes her off. Like, he's like,
he does
which
a
is
lot.
more important? It's just like... If you were going to do this, then why even get married? Like, what's the point? I don't understand his obsession. Because I'm assuming that this obsession is, like, a personality trait. And it's like, then why did you get married? That's why I'm mad. That's the only reason why I'm mad at him.
Yeah, he really does kind of push her off. And it's like, what else is she doing all day? Does she have a job? Does she have other passions? Like, is it just...
She just wants to bang.
Folding laundry and watching soap operas? So yeah, so she's all over him, which it really did make me... I'm like, he's gonna drop something and it's gonna explode. And he's pouring, you know, this liquid into this tube, and she's kissing on that hand. Like, what if that gets in her mouth? Like,
yeah. Let me just... your face.
Oh my gosh, it's too much. Like, she's just...
Just go to the carpenter half of the basement, bang her against the wall, and make her go back upstairs.
So he just has her hold the petri dish. He's like, here, babe, hold this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put the stuff in there. Cool, thank you. Oh my gosh, here comes the bunny!
Mr. Cottontail!
So he's testing on a bunny, which I was like, of course he is. And for some reason, he's got this cute little house for Mr. Cottontail.
Mm-hmm.
And he knocks on the door, even though there's nowhere for this bunny to go, really. Like, he's just laying there.
I love
like
that it's, like, interior lit,
I know.
too.
Like, he's got a sweet little pad, and it says Mr. Cottontail's home on it.
Yep. It's
Or
got
house.
a door.
Yeah,
He
windows. He knocks on the door.
There's
like,
shutters on the windows.
like, hey, buddy, do you mind? And he, like, has a little,
Those are legit shingles. That's not even, like, painted to look like shingles. That's legit I wanted to see if there's, like, no wonder he's in a carpenter. Half of it's to build the bunny house. The other half's to do experiments.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, this whole area over here is for Mr. Bun. But yeah, so he knocks on the door. He gives the bunny this concoction he's made. He's putting it on his food. And he wants him to eat it and then go to sleep so he can keep him going for days and days on end while he does whatever he does to him. This part cracked me up. So she's down there. She's frustrated at him for not paying attention to her. Mm-hmm. So then it cuts to, like, I guess the next day. She is just...
She's in her room.
She's in her room and she's working out on one of those, like, rowboat kind of, like, machines that they have.
But you don't see that.
No.
You just assume that, like, someone's talking to her and she's cheating on her husband and she's, like, talking to them.
And she's so sweaty. And,
yeah.
like...
Well, because that's what sex did to you in the 90s. It made you really sweaty. And...
Well, yeah, she's, like, doing, like, the pulley rowboat kind of thing on this. And she's watching the soap opera while she's working out. And she's just, like... She's just ready to like, blast off.
Well,
like...
see, and, like, look at the care that she gives herself. You know, the house is clean.
Yeah.
Laundry's
she's
done.
working out.
She's working out.
And this part here, so it cuts to the TV while she's working out, watching this, and it's gotten real spicy on this soap opera.
Yeah, Quebec and
Fuchsia are in bed, and he is all kinds of... Well, he's in, like, little... Is that, like, little G-string kind of thing underwear?
Yeah.
He's in, like, a little Speedo type thing. And she's got lingerie on. They're in bed, and...
I didn't notice that this is something that she says later to the guy.
Yeah, I didn't either until you just said that. But yeah, so they're, like, kissing in bed in the soap opera, and then all of a sudden Evian shows up with a gun.
And she's into this.
Yeah, she's like, oh my gosh, she's gonna shoot him? Fuchsia's like, no, you can't do this. And he's just like, watch me. And then they're like, oh my gosh. And so just as you find out what's gonna happen, the cable cuts out.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh my god. How will I know what happened? Oh, Oh.
Let me move the rabbit antenna, let me hit the machine, and let me run down the stairs.
Oh, rabbit antennas. Kind of miss them.
Only a little.
A little bit. They're kind of fun. It was
With
fun.
like the tinfoil.
Yeah, you try to figure it out. You're like, if you just sit here and hold that, and I lean back, I can watch it. Cool, thanks, don't move. Like, so she's freaking out, and she's like running downstairs.
White girl horror movie running down the stairs. Like all of those pictures should be like busting off the wall and everything. Like she is flailing about running down the stairs.
Yeah, she runs down to turn on the TV downstairs, and then it's like, that concludes another episode. Find out next time. And it's like, they don't normally do repeats on these things, so it's like...
and if they do, it's like, it's gonna be 20 years, and they're not even gonna do them in order.
Yeah, so it's like, because usually they would have an episode, I think, every day, like, during the week.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
if they did reruns, it was a past season, usually 2 or 3 years behind, and they were never in order.
So she's freaking out. Now the cable's working for some reason.
The friend shows up.
Yeah, Louise shows up, and she's like, oh my gosh, did you see it? And she's like, no, I didn't see the stupid cable cutout, or the TV cutout. And she's like, he shot Quebec. Oh my gosh, below the belt. So Quebec got hit in the peen.
Of course.
And...
Which, I mean, if you're sleeping with another guy's wife, I mean...
Which I was kind of like... That... Ouch. I was kind of like... Because he was real close to him.
You know, that's going to be from the drama of it. But also, like, that's one of the things that you get, is that you might get shot in the peen.
Well, and, I mean, I can guarantee Quebec will end up, like, paralyzed from the waist down, and then still be on the show or something like that.
Oh,
you know, that's how they'll continue. Like, it's not like he's dead.
Oh no, or if he is, he's only dead to get a new peen reconstructed so he can come back to wreak more sexual havoc.
He'll come back and be all like, Fuchsia, I need to try out my new peen. And she's like, I know where you can do that with me. It's with me. Let's do that. And so...
I'll be your sexy experiment.
I guess she doesn't really have cable. She has, like, just the locals.
I guess.
Or something. I don't know. Her TV's just messed up. So
or it's one of those cable channels that will kind of come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of surprised they don't, considering her husband's a doctor.
Well, I mean, she goes and explains that, like, he doesn't...
Oh, that's right.
He
thinks
doesn't
it's a
do,
waste of money.
you know, cable's frivolous, read a book.
Yeah.
I mean, even when he told her, like, yeah, he said, go watch TV, but he was like, go do these activities, go read a book, go do this, go do that. And, I mean, he's so focused on his experiment, they probably don't do cable just so he can afford to take that money and do his experiment.
And I get some of the being into your work a lot. Gus, are you chatty? Gus has been in here sleeping like a good boy, but then he decided to talk. Hi, Gus. You gonna be quiet?
Welcome, Gus, to our show.
So basically, Louise is like, you should get some cable.
When are you going to join the rest of us in the 20th century and get cable? The picture is so much better. Plus, you get HBO and everything. It would really improve the quality of your life.
Your husband doesn't know anything. Take decisive action, which is, you know, the mantra of the entire show. You know, fuck up your life.
This scene's great, though, because it's definitely the opening of cable guy porn.
Oh, yeah.
Because she calls the cable guy, and, you know, she's in this, like, polka dot outfit, and she opens it up, and it's Anthony LaPaglia, and he's looking pretty beefcake.
I definitely don't remember him looking that tall.
I kind of like it.
In that meeting. Oh, my God. Like, he came on, and like, me and Billy were just like, what?
Yeah, like, he's got his arms rolled up, or the sleeves rolled up, so he looks even more like a beefcake. His name is Abel. He's the cable guy. He's got his hair all slicked back. Kind of feel like he probably smells like sausages, but...
If not, it's that really spicy, like, men's cologne.
And he's immediately, like, he's just, like, chewing gum suggestively and kind of checking her out. And they're immediately, like, doing the innuendos of, like...
Oh, yeah, because even she immediately gets into it. Yeah.
She's like, cool, I'm glad you're here. My show starts in an hour. But, yeah, he's basically, like, all up on her, and he's like, where do you want me to put your box? And she's like, what?
Your cable box. Where do you want it?
She's like, I'm gonna need it more than once.
I mean, I need it in different rooms. I mean, can we do it in the bedroom, too?
I'm pretty certain he's been nailing multiple women. With the way he's looking at her, like, he's like, oh, it's gonna be one of them houses.
Oh, yeah.
Which really, in real life, doesn't happen. I don't think.
Well, I mean, there's a reason this is a thing. There's definitely a reason why this... I mean, it wasn't just like,
yeah.
oh, it's a porn thing. Like, yeah, it's a porn thing, but there was a reason for that it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a, you know, it's a fantasy
I mean,
of housewomen.
it probably definitely didn't happen as often as what guys think. I mean, most guys were like, oh, I'll be a cable guy. I'll get to bang a lot of chicks. And it's like, well, one, there's not a lot of chicks to bang, and two, chicks ain't just gonna bang any cable guy. You gotta look like that.
You gotta look like Anthony LaPaglia. You gotta look like Abel the cable guy.
Yeah. This ain't the 70s where it's just like fur on fur action. That's not what's going on.
Yeah, so he hooks her up. He's like, yeah, you put the male part to the female part. And she's like rubbing
It's
the bunny
huge.
ears. She's like, yeah, she's taking the bunny ears and like rubbing them while she talks to him. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Got quite a tool there. It's huge.
It's not the size of the tool, man. It's how you use it.
You certainly know how to use it. How many installations have you done in one day?
15. My Phillips did so much screwing, I thought the tip would fall off.
Oh, God. Damn.
Duty calls.
But just as they're kind of starting to get where they may kiss, his beeper goes off first, and he has another call that he needs to do. Now she's back to watching the soap opera, and so now this part's funny because Fuchsia is visiting Evian in prison, and she's all like, Quebec means nothing to me. And I'm like, oh, I see how you're covering your bases. All right. And she's got this lingerie on. Yeah, this is the wedding night lingerie thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
So she's there, and there's a cop, like, right behind her.
Again, she's into being watched.
I know. And he's not even paying. I don't know if she, like, paid him off or what. But he's just not even paying attention, and she immediately opens her coat, and she's like, do you remember this? And she's got, like, this black negligee on. She's like, a word on her wedding night. And he's just like, yeah, how could I forget that? That's great. Like, he completely forgives her. And she says, take me. Through the bars, they're holding each other.
Oh, Evian, take me.
And part of me is like, I don't know, I still don't know. He still would maybe kill her. I feel like if he's just trying to get out of prison.
Well, I mean, from her, because it is a soap opera, she thinks, you know, it's not so much of, oh, what are you going to do to me? It's, you finally noticed, and look at what you did. So now you're going to pay attention to me, and I'm going to get as much as I can out. Like, I'm going to milk it.
I mean, it's a similar, the similar situation. Yeah, God. A similar situation where, you know, like how she is how Janet is with Leon, with him being so busy.
Oh, yeah.
Just like her husband.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, skip the whole step of sleeping with a person. She's immediately like, again, emulating this.
Yeah.
If I do this, surely it's bound to work.
Yeah, this will get his attention. And so Leon's downstairs with Mr. Cottontail. Everything's still working. The thing he gave the bunny is working. He's had him on this coma thing for like 4 days, and everything is functioning the way it should.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really look like the bunny's hooked up to a whole lot of stuff. It kind of looks like he's just nestled in a little bed.
Yeah.
So she comes downstairs in a pretty nice looking lingerie.
Oh, yeah.
White getup. She's got this white silky, like, see-through robe. And he immediately is like...
I want to know how her thigh highs are staying up without a garter.
She's just like hairspray, glue.
Clearly.
And he immediately is mad. Like, he sees her, and she's obviously, like, posing for him, and he's just like...
Day 4, Mr. Cottontail. Vital signs stable. Brain waves normal. Heart functioning.
What did I tell you about coming in here when the light is on? Only emergencies.
Oh, this is an emergency. Remember this, Leon? I wore it on our wedding night.
You did?
Well, not all the time. You did remove it. Take a night off, Leon. I have something so special planned.
I can't. I'm so close. Watch TV. Read a book or something.
I don't want to watch TV. I want to be with you.
You can't. I'm at a critical stage.
So am I.
And he's there with Mr. Bun Bun. And I guess Mr. Bun, I don't know, he's got a little bit of hookup stuff, but it seems like there's more just machines around him. But yeah, she looks great. I was like, good for you.
It still fits. Everything's where it's supposed to be.
She's kept herself nice looking for him.
Yeah.
Great.
Look at that skin.
And she's like, take a night off.
And he's like, nope.
He's like,
I'm at a critical
I can't.
stage.
And she's like, me too. I'm about ready to, like, ride the dryer if you don't stop.
And then he's like, no, you gotta see this, and then she becomes aware that there's a bunny.
Yeah, she's like, oh yes, the bunny. And he wants to hold off the bunny, or hold this bunny in this coma for at least another week. I hope he's moving Mr. Bunny's muscles. You know, again, he pushes her away. She goes upstairs and gets a little tipsy on champagne and chocolate-covered strawberries.
Of the dinner that she cooked him.
Yeah.
Look at all that silver and crystal that's out. Like, she put on a spread and not just on herself.
Yeah, and it's not just like she wanted to just bang. She was wanting to have some romance and a nice dinner.
Yeah.
She's got the strawberries, she's got the champagne, she's
There's
got some
roses.
Yeah, roses.
Candlelight.
And so she gets herself a little tipsy, and she calls up the cable guy. She basically unplugged the male from the female. He said she could text him or text him. She could call him or beep him anytime, day or night, and that's what she did. And so she's still in this lingerie, which is definitely, I mean, that gets the point across. Like, he walks in and he's like, all right.
I mean, even with that, like, you gotta give him props, because he immediately didn't just, like...
Take her?
Yeah, like, he was like, well, I'm gonna check out your cable, figure that out. He did figure it out, and he's still, like, he gave her an out. He didn't assault her.
Yeah.
Like, he walked in, and it was, from this point until they get it on, like, he's giving her an out.
I think the sexual innuendos is kind of like their foreplay a little bit, too. So, yeah, there's a lot more, sexual innuendo. Like, the cable guy, Michael's saying the cable guy should power cycle that box.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right. Like, he's like, because he's working on it, he's like, people will get it. I'm like, all right, power cycle that box it is. So,
and you get the like 3 or 4 scenes of her just throwing her head back while he devours her neck, and that's it.
That's sex. It. Yeah, that's how you have sex. And so it cuts to her like putting her garters or her stockings back on, and so she gets what she wanted. Mm-hmm. But I mean, she's still wanting to make her husband jealous is the main thing. And so I had forgotten to mention, this was also risky because earlier when she was in the lab with the bunny and Leon, she knocked over like a little vat of plasma because she was trying to ride him on top of the bunny, and he got mad and was like, oh, now I gotta run back to work and get the plasma. And so during this time he's been gone. He could have came home any time, and he just happens to go home literally like 3 minutes after Abel leaves.
Yeah. And misses him completely. And she's just laying on the couch with her I guess she got some champagne, and just hanging out in her lingerie. And he's like, okay, cool, babe, I'm gonna get back to work. You have fun in your lingerie? Sweet. And like goes to leave, and she's very smug with herself. She's very happy. Oh yeah, and he notices that the TV, like, there's something wrong with the TV, because she mentions, oh, she'll call the cable guy the next day, and he's like, yeah, you do that. And she's like, oh, I will.
So it's the next day. So now they're in the bed, going at it, and the door starts to open, and this is when Leon comes home.
What about your husband?
Oh, don't worry about him. He's in
Janet?
the front door. Oh, God!
Oh, shit.
Janet?
Up here, Leon, in the bedroom.
What the hell is going on here? And who the hell are you?
I'm the cable man, sir. I'm just here to check out some of the equipment.
You told me to call him, honey.
It seems your work is causing some interference. I'd say that's what caused the problem in the first place.
I love how smoothly this guy not only uses cable puns to, like, flirt with someone, but to immediately tell a guy that your priorities are not in the right place. Because, I mean, the cable guy was like, yeah, I'm here working on your cable because your job is interfering with it as in other areas,
Yeah.
And it's basically, it's there.
He's kind of like, take a look at your wife.
Yeah.
Because he's like,
this problem with cable wouldn't be a problem if you paid attention where you needed to.
Because basically Leon's like, well, didn't you just put the cable in? And he's like, yeah, it seems like your work isn't giving it some interference. I guess from the lab and stuff down there. Which, I mean, it's probably not true. He's just covering his butt. But yeah, it's in a way of being like, your wife's right here.
Because, I mean, even after he says that, the wife just kind of, like, looks over at him and looks back. Because she definitely got it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have to mention this. I love that at every opportunity, Tales from the Crypt can plug themselves in their own show. I was not expecting that. We busted out laughing when we first saw that.
Yeah, so right here, they're all three in the bedroom, and Abel gets the cable box to work again, turns on the TV, and it pops into the intro of the Crypt Keeper popping out of the crypt.
Yeah.
Or out of the coffin there.
Just
and
laughing hysterically.
And then immediately Leon's like, turn that off. So now Leon's saying he's really onto something with his this product thing he's working on. And so now he took off work as like a
mini sabbatical.
Yeah, and he's gonna work at home. And she's like, "Oh, cool! You're gonna be here all the time, yay!"
And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be here downstairs working the entire time, all the time,
with the light on."
With the light on.
Know. But this really doesn't deter her, deter her much. Because I'm like, why don't they just go get a hotel or something if they really want to?
They could still do stuff upstairs, because that's a whole floor in between them, but...
Yeah. The fact that, I mean, she definitely is wanting to get caught in a way, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because she's hoping that if they get caught, in her mind, because of that soap opera, if they get caught, it's not her fault, because she was driven to it.
And it will help.
So he's going to be mad at Abel, and then fall back in with his wife.
Exactly, but that's not how life works.
Oh, no, it's not. But again, her life has to be a soap opera. It has to emulate it to the fullest extent. Like, her life has to be it so much so that she's using pickup lines and sexy lines from the show.
Yeah.
I mean, that poor guy. I mean, at what point is he like, okay, let's real talk and let's, like, have
you want to get, like, a cup of coffee? She's like, what?
Yeah.
So after Leon goes back downstairs, her and Abel hook up again in the living room, which, again, like, he could easily just walk back up. So this part I really enjoyed, because we're continuing in the soap opera. Fuchsia's on this bed, and she's all, like, dramatic and stuff, and Evian has gotten out of jail, and she's like, oh, good, we can be together, and Evian's like, no, there's someone else in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a man, right?
I don't know.
Because he said, like, it's a man. He's been in jail for 2 weeks, and I think like, he fell in love with someone in jail. Because she's like, you've been locked up in the men's house for detention for 2 weeks.
What's said after that?
And then he kind of leans in and just looks at her, and then she looks at the camera, and she's like, oh my god, this soap opera.
You wanted drama.
And so they're laying there snuggling on the couch there, and you can see that the red light's on. And then the bell rings. Yeah, so this is the part you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Out through the garden. Bye, babe.
Yeah, so he dips out. And she just comes upstairs and is just like hanging out.
She's in lingerie, sitting on the couch, which I mean, I guess I sit,
But does
underwear,
does he just think that she just likes to lay out in her lingerie and watch soap operas?
Well, I mean, with as much as she's wanting to bang, she probably doesn't have everyday panties. She probably only owns
sexy panties,
sexy lingerie. So
that really reminds me of. Have you ever seen? Here's another movie. You ever seen Miss Congeniality?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie.
Yes.
But the part where she's like, and I couldn't have them because they were Satan's panties. Like, her mom made her throw out the red underwear. Oh, it would be so fun.
I love that everything that sexy underwear she does own, it's all in sets.
Yes.
Like, the first one was the bridal white. This is a beautiful teal color.
Yeah, this one's nice too.
Like, it's always something shiny or see-through with lace. Like, I appreciate that.
It always has like a little cover-up thing that she can wear, and it's real satiny.
And it all matches. Yes. It all matches.
So Leon comes up, he's excited. Mr. Cottontail has been resting comfortably on this medicine or whatever he's making for 10 days now.
I hope you're not too lonely.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel I kind of like that, because he did at least come up and was like, hey, hon, I hope, like, patting her shoulder, like, I hope everything's okay, sorry I've been so distant.
But that still feeds into her notion, because, like, now he's starting to pay attention, so it's getting closer and closer to when he's actually going to find out.
So now it's been 15 days, and Mr. Cottontail is still hanging in there. Leon's like, I did it. Upstairs, Abel and Janet are doing it again on this little couch. You can see the light on, but they're not paying attention.
No.
And he's got his eyes closed, and she's talking about mountains and...
Yeah, and this is the waterfall avalanche BS that was mentioned.
And he's just like, all right, I don't know, like, whatever. And so he brings Mr. Cottontail back, and Mr. Cottontail's okay. Leon's so excited, and this part kind of got to me. He wanted to show Janet first.
Yeah.
Like, right away. He was like, oh my gosh, he's like got the rabbit, and he's like, we're gonna get the Nobel Prize, and I'm so excited.
First person he wants to share with
is his wife.
That he's been neglecting this whole time, and he walks up the stairs without turning off the light.
Yeah, because he was so excited.
So the light's still on. He walks out. He looks like he's been on drugs for, like, 3 days.
I like how he's got the 5 o'clock shadow, like they didn't have him shave and stuff, so he looks like he's just been roll.
Walks in, Cable Man's going to town on his wife. He's hugging the poor creature.
I know. I was like, is he gonna kill Mr. Cottontail?
I don't know.
Like, squeeze him to death? But this, I mean, it's a little sad because it's like they're both like talking about how much they want each other's bodies, and he can hear all of it, and it's just breaking his heart.
No.
Yes.
No.
Take my body.
What can I do? What can I do? Divorce her and leave her? No. No. That would be too easy. Give it to me.
Yes.
I'm gonna hurt her. Hurt her as she hurt me.
Has a mental break.
Yeah, he's not
You
good.
know, Mr. Cottontail with his double chin is just
He's so
hanging
cute.
out.
He's got a little fat flap.
Puts the bunny, I'm assuming, away. I love that he's getting more and more drug addict-y.
Yeah, and it really doesn't take him long to come to this conclusion. He immediately is like, should I divorce her? No, it's too easy. I could kill her. I'm like, damn, alright, you kind of jumped.
Or he's like, I can test this on humans right now, and
Yeah.
I can get back at them.
So he decides to try this same thing on human subjects. So he runs back upstairs and puts, like, I guess chloroform
Yeah.
on some cloths and sticks it on their face, and they're immediately out. And so then it cuts downstairs, and he's got both of them laying on different gurneys.
In their clothes.
Yes, they're in their clothes that they were in.
Janet's now sporting this really cute pink number.
Yeah, with these little fluffy shoes.
I love the bloomers. And he's administering the anesthetic, which looks like it's via dropper.
And it's really a small amount. It's like one drop.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well, so now I'm wondering, is it one drop for the entire 10 days, or is it something that you administer
like every day or
every
something.
day, or every couple of hours?
Yeah,
or
maybe that's why
something?
he had to hang out with the bunny so much, because it was like every 4 hours or something.
Yeah, or the same time every day, or twice a day, or something.
Yeah.
And then he has to do his creepy
yeah, I don't know why he did
hand cascade down her, aura of her body, because he's been ignoring her this whole time.
Yeah, now he's into her body. And so it shows him kind of like just different surgical equipment and blood on his mask.
Yeah.
And things like that. By now they've kind of covered up the bodies with some cloth, and you can kind of tell something's going on.
Yeah.
And so then this had to be a little interesting though, because he does keep them for the 15 days like he did with the bunny, which did no one come looking for Abel?
What about the soap opera?
Did her friend
did
Louise come over?
not
Like,
ever want to talk to Janet
I was
about
like,
what
how
was
did-
going on? He has a job. He's a cable guy.
Yeah.
People need their HBO.
He's getting beeped all the time. And his boss probably is looking for me. And then, with her, like, Louise hasn't showed up. I guess he's just been like, oh, she's been sick for 15 days. I don't know how that got covered up.
Yeah.
But so then they wake up back on the couch, which also had to be interesting. The fact that they were like, what? And then woke back up right on the couch.
They were just like, we were making out, and then we fell asleep, and then we woke up, and we were going to make out some more.
And they're like, what happened? Yeah, he's right behind them, and he's mad. He's like, what do you think happened?
Well, see, and I think it's funny because I don't think that they would have recognized it sooner. Like, they would have just kept making out.
You think, like, they wouldn't have noticed until he said something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because they were like groggy, like, oh, I
That's
don't
true.
know, and it would take them like 20 minutes. And then he was like, no, I'm right behind you. And they were like instant awake, like, oh no, we're children with our hands in the cookie jar.
In a kind of a silly way, he basically switched their heads.
Her head is so tiny.
Well, in a way, I guess what it is it's more he switched their bodies.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's basically their heads. But he says he switched their bodies because they were saying that they wanted each other's bodies.
Yeah.
And so now they have them.
Oh my God, what's happened?
I don't know.
What the hell's happened to us, Janet?
What do you think happened?
Leon.
You've just made medical history together.
Leon. How could you?
You lost your heads over each other. You wanted each other's bodies. I gave them to you.
Her neck is the size of his bicep.
So Janet has Carl's body and Carl has Janet's body. And they're like, oh my God. They're like freaking out. And of course, Carl's got to feel his boobs.
I have a real problem. I'm not saying anybody who ignores their spouse deserves it. That's not what I'm saying at all. But You went to great lengths to ignore your wife. I'm not saying that you were working to ignore her.
No. But she was
she was obviously not your priority.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that your heart's broken and that, you know, you wanted to show and like I guess I'm mad about it because they didn't show more of him tuning in. Like, you got the one of, I hope that you're not too lonely, and then, like, and he wanted to show the bunny first.
But they kind of make it like he's more the bad guy.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, I'm going to ignore you, and then you're going to go in this person's arms, and I'm going to have, like, 2 very tiny scenes to show that I'm still kind of into you. And then I'm going to act like a husband who has, you know, who's been watching you this whole time and has been wanting you and loving you this whole time, when clearly that's not the case.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think he did care for his wife. I think it was just, he was so focused and really it worked though. He's going to make a lot of money and make a lot, they could be very successful, and he wanted to share that with her.
If anything at all, with the feeding into the soap opera, like, that's real life. You know, your husband's not just going to be like, I'm going to shoot his peen and I'm going to get back with you. No, he's going to develop an anesthesia to keep you under 15 days and then switch your bodies.
That's real life.
Yeah, that's real life.
Yeah, when you switch your bodies.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the episode. I'm not sure what happened to Leon after that. Maybe he kept them around as, like, little projects. Because can you tell people? I guess you could tell people about that, but then they would talk.
Well, I'm assuming that they ran out of the house, which means that they either died because he had to keep them quiet. They're still living in the basement, contained in cages, which is really sad to think about. Or they were able to escape, in which he was both a modern marvel and a genius, as well as a mad scientist who clearly was insane and had to be institutionalized.
I think I'd keep it to myself. Use the bunny as the first example.
And then when that gets, you know, after I won the Nobel Peace Prize, then I'll bring out my ex-wife and her lover to show just how much of a genius I am.
So that's the end of the episode. It cuts back to the Crypt Keeper. He's got his cute little hat on, and he's still golfing.
You know, after the initial shock, Jane and Abel's gonna have some incredible sex.
Oh, I don't know. Well, but it'd be like doing yourself with another head, like.
But you can feel everything that the body does. It's just a different body.
It depends on how much he was able to hook back together, I guess.
Well, but they were able to, like, move their hands and everything. Like, you know?
I mean, I guess you'd at least try it out.
Yeah. Well, you've got to.
Yeah,
it's
you're
science.
Right. We gotta try it out.
Science.
Then now they're the only ones made for each other, so they have to be together.
Yep.
So the Crypt Keeper's there, and he's golfing, and he makes a hole in one. He, like, shoots the ball into a little skull that, like, opens up, and it goes in there. It's cute.
Yep.
Crypt Keeper, you're so punny. And the best Crypt Keeper pun is...
Well, looks like Janet and Abel have become rather attached. Talk about being stuck on each other.
That's the end of the episode. Season 3, episode 13, Spoiled. Next episode will be Season 3, episode 14, Yellow. There is a little bit of trivia here from IMDb. This story deals with the woman's fascination with soap operas and the cable guy who comes to fix her TV in her loneliness. There is quite a bit of self-reference to cable TV, as this series appeared on cable, HBO, in the early days of original programming on that medium from 1989 to 1996. When Janet's TV picture goes out, Louise convinces her to get cable. But yeah, and that's where Louise says HBO would really improve your quality of life. And then, like we saw earlier, when it switches on the set, we hear the Crypt Keeper laughing maniacally and see the opening title for Tales from the Crypt, and Leon barks, "Turn that off." And at the end here, where the Crypt Keeper laughs, he gets real close to the camera. It's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
His eyes are, like, all up in your face. I'm like, all right.
Like, you're getting really close and personal with them pearlies.
Yeah. They're awfully white, considering.
Yeah.
So, that's the end of the episode. Heather, thank you for being on here again.
Thank you for having me. This was a great episode.
We really had a good time with this one. Everybody, thank you so much for listening and for downloading. If you have a moment, please get on iTunes and give me a 5-star review. That really helps me out. I'm also on Twitter. You can follow me at Gek Podcast, at GEK Podcast. Also am on Spotify now, and you can like the Facebook page. I don't know, there's just all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, thanks again for listening, and have a good one.
I just had quite a